and good evening to everybody. Little bit of a drama this evening. Gosh, we're having a dramatic program of our in-concert session tonight, and we got off to a rather dramatic start. We're late. Our stream failed for some reason. We had to reset it 3 times. The first time it's done that in a very long time. No idea why, but nothing that a restart of a computer won't solve, and there we go. So this is Christopher Duigan. Today is the Saturday, the 22nd of May, and this is our Music Revival online in-concert piano session on a Saturday. Piano hour on Wednesday, which is light and varied and fun, and our classical section on a Saturday evening, just gone 6 o'clock. It's now almost 6:15. We're a little bit late. Sorry about that, but we are here. And this evening's program is a selection of music. It'll be coming up on the screen for you in a minute by Beethoven, by Schubert, Liszt, and Chopin, including Beethoven's very celebrated and well-known Pathetique Sonata, or the Grand Sonata Pathetique, as Beethoven himself called it. It's one of the few Beethoven sonatas that have titles, things like Waldstein, Appassionata, Pastoral, Moonlight. This is actually a title that Beethoven himself gave to the music. He wrote this in the music himself. It's not a popular nickname that someone else attached to the music. Now, as usual, if you are watching and you're enjoying our live stream sessions, we really hope you are. Please do support us. We in our next month. This is coming up for 14 months, end of 14 months, that we've been doing 2 regular streams a week, and we really are I'm depending on your donations, financial support to keep going, to make this possible and to earn a living. I'm not going to be gating the stream. We are going out free, but we are depending on the interaction of everyone who is watching and enjoying this to please pay in, even if it's just 100 Rand a session, or a monthly amount or a monthly donation. It really does keep the whole show on the road, so to speak, and make it all viable and all possible. This program tonight is linking, I think, into this rather, I wouldn't say autumnal, I thought it was going to be an autumnal program. It's actually freezing cold. It is really, really, really cold outside. Well, when I say really cold, for those of you who are overseas and international and not in this part of the world, it's probably about 15 or 12 degrees now. At just gone 6 in the evening, and it's probably going to get colder. So it's the coldest day certainly that we've had this year, and I hope that this music is going to warm you. I hope if you are sitting locally, you are by a fire or by a heater or somewhere where you are comfortable, and you've got a glass of wine or something nice to keep you cozy for the next while. So straight into the music. This evening's program, I'm going to play the entire Sonata Pathetique by Ludwig van Beethoven. I've played many times the middle movement, the slow movement, this very beautiful, richly scored movement of Beethoven's sonata. But I'm going to play for you the entire 3 movements this evening. It's one of Beethoven's most celebrated sonatas because of the title, but I actually think that it's one of the most uncomfortable, you might say. I'm really sort of taking a bit of a chance by saying that, but it's uncomfortable in some ways to listen to, I think, and it's also very uncomfortable to play. Beethoven was really fiddling around with some very grand ideas here, and it doesn't always sit very easily. It's really a difficult piece to manage, and I've struggled with it on many occasions. Just to give you an idea, I'm going to give you some pointers, some listening pointers. In the first movement, Beethoven includes, I'm going to point out 3 themes or 3 melodies, the first of which has a typically explosive, very much of Beethoven's time, an explosive idea. In other words, a melody or a theme that explodes up the keyboard. Sounds like this. That idea of music rising up, the excitement exploding up from the bottom, is the first idea you're going to listen to. The second idea is a very unusual way. I don't think anywhere else in the piano repertoire anyone else does this, crossing of hands back and forward. So there's like almost a double conversation between 2 different voices. Rather challenging, oh gosh, it's an awkward passage to play. It's rather terrifying every time it comes. And the third passage, which ends off this section, kind of a celebration. So in those 3 themes, you will hear all of them in the beginning part of the movement and again at the end of the movement in their correct sequence. Beethoven keeps the order of these pieces. In the middle of the movement, there's a sort of turbulence where these ideas are thrown about back and forth. But to really complicate things and to really give this idea of grand pathos, pathetique, pathos, the sense of great emotion and drama and tragedy in the music, Beethoven begins the movement with a very slow introduction. I mean, you do not get a more dramatic start than that. These very static chords, very disjointed rhythm. I mean, there's a lot of tension in that chord. This idea of this disjointed, the sort of static, the step by step in a very tense way gives you a great sense of drama, the sudden outbursts and contrasts of piano, of soft and loud, piano and forte, soft and loud, contrasting so suddenly. And this slow, very static sequence keeps coming back and breaks the momentum of the music. So as I pointed out those three themes, that opening theme comes back again and again before each time and really breaks the momentum of the movement. So it's a very complicated sound and really brings the drama to the fore. The second movement is the well-known Adagio. It's like a balm. We all need such a restful, beautiful, caring moment, and Beethoven provides it in that beautiful second movement, scored, played very low in the keyboard, so it's a very rich sound. And then the third movement, a rondo, a theme which comes back again and again. Very elegant, charming. This is what I've always talked about when we come to the later sonatas like the Moonlight Sonata and sonatas after that, that Beethoven pushes the drama of the music to the end of the sonata. This is what he's reacting against. This is opus 13. This is quite early. This is very early in Beethoven's output, 1798. And so the last movement doesn't have that sense of drama and sense of gravity. It's almost like an entertaining aside to end the piece and let the music or let the atmosphere of the music flow away in a very pleasing manner. So this is the sonata opus 13, the Grand Sonata Pathetique, as Beethoven himself called it, in 3 movements. It's a very challenging piece of music, but I hope you're going to enjoy this on this very, very chilly night. That was the three movements, the Grave and Allegro, the Adagio Cantabile, and the Rondo Allegro of the Sonata Opus 13 in C minor, the eighth of his 32 piano sonatas of Ludwig van Beethoven. It's a really beautiful piece of music. It's got so many interesting ideas, as I say, but it somehow seems very awkward to play always. And I've struggled with it for many years. But, you know, one keeps trying, because every time you feel like you just might be making progress, it's always good to come back to these pieces and discover another element or take another approach. I am going to move on to, oh, look, here comes little Lucy. Little Lucy's making a pair. Lucy, do you want to come and say hello to everybody? Lucy is feeling very upset because, in fact, here they all come, because they had the heater on, and I thought, well, if I leave the heater on, we're not going to see any of our stars of the show this evening. So here comes little Frida. Hello, Frieds. Come and say hello to everyone. So, terribly rude of me. I turned the heater off just before we started. Don't tell anyone. You know, we know the heater went off. It's suddenly getting very cool in the kitchen. Anyway, we think it's going to be warmer here because there's such lovely music. Yes, and here's a little windy pop. Windy pop. Yes, you're still hot. I can still see you're all hot and sweaty from being right on top of the heater. You could not get closer to the heater if you tried. We'll make you a fire just now, girls. Just hang on. Oh, you're having a little run around, a little prance. Okay, I'm going to move on to music by Franz Schubert and Franz Liszt. From the Schubert selection, or first selection of Impromptus, Opus 90, I'm going to play the second Impromptu, which is a really graceful and quite complicated little piece of music, because it has this beautiful elegance and charm, but then underneath, as with so much of Schubert's music, there's this darkness that lurks, that every now and again pops its head out and becomes a rather menacing, almost threatening element underneath all this, and ends off on a very dramatic and dark note. It's a very unusual but very charming and I think very fascinating piece of music, the second Impromptu from Opus 90 in E flat. And then I'm going to play for you another of Liszt's compositions, which I was going to include in last week's program, but I decided to keep it over. From the second year, Italy year of the Années de Pelegrinage, or the years of pilgrimage, Liszt wrote three of these sonnets for voice and piano originally, songs for voice and piano, sonnets by the poet Petrarca. And I played one of them several weeks ago, and I'm going to play another. This is the sonnet 47, and the words are so fascinating. Blessed be the day, the poet says, blessed be the day, the month, the year, the hour, the minute, and the second when I first laid eyes on you. What a wonderful, positive and enthusiastic thought. A sense of absolute devotion and wonder. So Liszt, writing them originally for voice and piano, then rewrote them as solo piano pieces in this second year of Italy, of the years of pilgrimage inspired by Italian work of literature and art, and in this case poetry. And it really is, there's something very magical about this piece of music. It's really a sense of great devotion, beauty and richness, as only Liszt himself could write. No flash, there's no brilliance, there's no dramatics. It's just a really heartfelt and wonderfully rich piece of music. So this is the Schubert Impromptu in E flat and the sonnet 47, Petrarca sonnet 47 by Franz Liszt. The beautiful, really rich, I mean, what a magnificent piece of music. The Petrarca Sonnet 47 by Franz Liszt. Very contrasted to the music that I played for you last week, which was full of virtuosity and brilliance. There, Liszt really just having a very poetic moment. Blessed be the day, the month, the hour, the second that I first laid eyes on you. What a wonderful, wonderful thought. And before that, very contrasted piece by Franz Schubert, the Impromptu number 2 in E flat from his first set of Impromptus, Opus 90. I'm going to end off this evening's program with 2 compositions by Frédéric Chopin. The second is one of the great scherzi or scherzos, pieces of music that are really showing Chopin at his most dramatic, his most progressive, outgoing, very outlandish, very driven, hard-edged pieces. There's a real edge to this music and a real sense of music taking flight. I've played these scherzis for years, on and off, and I keep coming back to them, and it's particularly this third one. It's another very challenging piece of music, not only technically, but also to tie the various musical ideas together. And it really does represent, I think, something very unique in Chopin's repertoire. It's a very almost brittle, hard-edged, but very, very exciting piece of music. And before that, just to contrast, to lead us into that moment, also in C-sharp minor, one of the very beautiful nocturnes, this time the Nocturne, Opus 27, number 1. A very dreamy, very atmospheric, mysterious opening, a grand climax in the middle before it returns to that original mysterious quietness again. And these are going to be the last 2 pieces on this evening's program. If you've just joined us, we are running a little bit late. We had a bit of a false start. Our streams failed twice. We had to reset them 3 times the whole setup. We hope you are watching. We hope someone's watching. And we hope you are enjoying it. Please let us know what you're experiencing this evening. Frida, I'm sorry. Frida's always barking and moaning when I play too loudly. I'm sorry, Frida. That was the Scherzo number 3, the third of 4 scherzi or scherzos by Frédéric Chopin. Scherzo number 3 in C sharp minor. And before that, I played the Nocturne in C sharp minor, just to match in terms of the key and some of the mood and introduction. Frida, did you find that too loud, especially when you're sitting under the piano? Yes, well, especially when you're under the piano, of course it's loud. Oh gosh, and I've got the whole troupe. Here's everyone looking at me waiting. So here's little Frida. Say hello, Frieds. Say hello to everybody. Yes, you've enjoyed this. You're going to enjoy having time by the fire. Now we're going to make you a nice fire. And here's little Wendy Pop comes racing up. Wendy Pop, Wendy Pop, Wendy Pop. Yes, did you enjoy the music? Oh, you want to go up to my shoulders and ask, Wendy Pop, where are you off to? Little Wendy Pop. Have a look at there we go. Wendy Pop, very excited this evening. And let's have little Lucy come loose. Little Lucy, everyone wants to see little Lucy come loose. No, she doesn't. Come on, Lucy. Come. Come on, Lucy. We are going to have a show with that little Lucy. There we go. Here's little Lucy, the long-haired dachshund. Yes, it's very cold. Yes, I know, but you've got an extra fur coat. You've got a permanent fur coat on. Aren't you lucky? Yes, because it's so cold, and you've got your coat, and everyone else is absolutely glued to the heater, but you don't need to be because you've got your own little coat to keep you warm. Are you enjoying the cold weather? You loose? Yes. You like it because then you can snuggle in bed. You can stay in bed all day if you want to, and no one moans. That's quite nice. And what do you do in bed, Luce? What do you do? Nothing. Just sleep. Just nothing. Nothing. That's nice. Well, I've been playing the piano all day and you've been sleeping. Great. Okay, well, that does bring us to the end of this evening's session. Thank you if you're still with us. I'm hoping that the stream has gone out, third time lucky. It's been a rather challenging evening on many levels, but we seem to have got to the end of it and everything seems to be going fine. So please join us next week on Wednesday for another piano hour session. I have a big concert in Cape Town next Saturday. And even though the concert's in the morning at 11 o'clock at the Baxter Theatre in Cape Town, Saturday the 29th, I don't think I'm going to be back here in time. So I don't think we're going to have a live session on Saturday the 29th. That's next Saturday evening. But hopefully we will have, I'm hoping to put together a recorded selection of highlights from various streams. Hey, you two, stop it. Various streams over the past few months and put together a special program which we'll be able to broadcast or send out for you live next Saturday evening. But then we'll be carrying on as usual with our streams twice a week. So it's just next Saturday that we are going to have to miss, unfortunately. Thank you to Andrew for his technical support, not only tonight but over the last couple of weeks. Andrew, thank you very much for your very generous and brilliant support. You've been amazing to see how Andrew's got his own stamp and his own way of doing the technical production, and it looks like Barry will be back sometime during this next couple of days and hopefully back here by Wednesday. So thanks for joining us tonight. The girls are having a good frolic. They're kind of getting a little bit out of hand, you might even say, and we look forward to seeing you on next week. Stay well, keep warm, look after yourselves, and be well. We'll see you then.